you went to art school, you did this kind of stuff. You had to deal with the art hose at art school. You did some great comedy about them art hose. How did you get through art school without going crazy?
I think that's when I started to think seriously about the distribution of resources and about the puerile notion that most people have when they're like 12 years old, when they start to think about government and how things should be distributed, and seeing the inefficiency and the bureaucracy and what a scam college is. That was a big formative thing for me, was like living through the scam and watching my dad blow $250,000 on stuff you could learn on YouTube, basically.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. I didn't blow that much. Wow. I did blow quite a bit though on grad school, and in the middle of grad school I realized that I'm paying this D-bag liberal guy to tell me that I can get a piece of paper and that he, who hates me, will allow me to go and talk about the things that I actually knew better than that guy. You know what I mean? It's like, this is totally a scam and brainwashing, by the way.
It's such an insane waste of money, because that amount of money, you can use that to start not just one business. I mean, it depends on what kind of business you're trying to start, but that's startup capital for fucking, I'm sorry. Oof. That's startup capital for effing 10 businesses, and that's across the entire country. All those people. I mean, if you want to help, if you're one of these people that wants to, if you want to do good, if you want to be charitable, look at the waste of money that's happening in colleges, and think about what that money could do. I mean, Dwight Eisenhower has that his quote about. Man, I'm too scatterbrained for this podcasting stuff. This is one reason why I don't do it. But when he was railing against the military-industrial complex and talking about how one B-52 bomber is like the cost of a hospital, that kind of thing. Right. It's just like there's so many people who are concerned with helping society, but they're unwilling to look for inefficiency in these hallowed institutions.
Before we get to Paradigm Shift, which was kind of an epic troll, when I first saw TED Talks, back in the early 2000s, I remember seeing the first one actually was not bad. It was something about like symbols and geometry and nature, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I click on the next TED Talk, and it's like some witchy woman saying, we have more men. We have more women graduating from college than men now, and women are more men than man. And then I click on the next one, and it's Bill Gates, and he's talking about, we got to get the numbers down. We got to get the population down. So
eat your own doo-doo. drink the poo water.
With this epic troll of Paradigm Shift, where you trolled TED Talk. Can you tell us about that?
I'm sure you've talked about this before. The Bill Gates's fixation on getting people to drink pee and drink their doo-doo water. That's so insane. I'll get to your question in a second.
How we're gonna make feces into meat, this kind of stuff, and
yeah. Like this is the thing. All right, I'm not actually all that. I'm probably as most people are. I'm probably as most black people are, and there are things that happen to black people that are like mind-blowing. Like this, the human guinea pig stuff in Africa is so insane, and the Bill Gates testing. It's almost like this stuff they're doing is so evil. It's almost like if you had a video game and the point of the video game was to be as evil as possible to as many black people in Africa as possible. And then making it so that they're like trying to get it so they're drinking urine and feces. That's the most insane, evil thing, man. Like, never mind the tenfold increase in population from human aid, etc. Never mind the vaccination experiments and the AIDS and all this other stuff. Like the icing on the cake, like that's how you know someone's really evil, is when it's not just a pragmatic thing. It's not just like trying to bring about some future world scenario. It's not like, oh, we need to do this to get to the means justify the end. We have to get here. We have to get to the future. And injecting these blacks is very important to do. Like, it's absolutely evil when he's like, okay, now we're gonna make poo-poo cakes.
Yeah, it's intentionally puerile. It's an intentional, like the dog. Rub the dog in the face, his face in the mess. So you brilliantly.
I don't mean to appear callous, like laughing so much. It's just that it's so insane and twisted. Like, it doesn't
sound real. It sounds crazy.
It's not. It's not even out of like science fiction. Like, it's beyond that. Like, if a science fiction writer wrote something like that, you'd be like, oh, this is disturbing. I don't want to read this anymore. Like, there's not that many ideas like this in great science fiction. It's just so insane. Anyway, sorry.
Gil Bates had already done his TED Talks, and then you did your troll of the TED Talk. Can you tell us how that came about?
It's just like, watching TED Talks, because there's some good TED Talks. It's like there's usually something interesting you can glean from most of them. There's always something. Someone will say something that's interesting, and it'll be worth skimming through for 20 minutes on double speed or whatever. But right. Just it's the sort of Reddit atheist scientism, like taking all of human knowledge and all of the scientific method, balling it up into this like cool little robot guy and say, for science, for eureka, and like fetishizing and like people who don't have the ability to go through a scientific paper. Not saying I have that ability either, but people who just have no understanding, and they look at these like the promise of gleaming rockets and the promise of tasty vaccines, and thinking that like this is the new God or something like that. And that's sort of the vibe that I got from TED Talks. The guy that organizes TED Talks, I forget what his name is. It's some slightly fruity sounding name, Christophorus, something like that. But he comes on stage with like an Asian style no collar shirt. And whenever
like
he does make an
villain type of shirt, yeah,
exactly. And when he makes an appearance on stage, when the TED Talk is interesting enough and important enough and high level enough for him to come on stage and like thank the person, he's always like he's got this like weird kind of air of humility, like he's talking to the Pope or something. Like, he'll come up and like shake the hand like it's a precious. This is the most precious handshake. You are a prophet. You are leading us in the new way. That kind of thing. So I just thought it was a sphere that was ripe for some kind of prank like that. I know, to be fair, what I did was a TEDx talk. It wasn't a TED Talk, so it was less thoroughly vetted. But I think I got the point across.
It still worked, yeah. I mean, yeah. And this was not that long ago. You're the sort of the beefy. Somebody said you looked like a built Leon Trotsky. So you were already the buff Leon Trotsky, Sam Hyde, there at that point, but.
Thank you.
Now, you had $1 million Extreme. Do you want to get into the drama of the cancellation? Because you were like the pioneer of the deplatforming cancel culture stuff for comedy. You were before the media stuff, the alt media and all that. They went for comedy. They went for you.
Yeah, well, I think the key thing that sort of set us up for targeting is we were kind of like the last remaining. Not like white power, but like group of white guys not acting like fruity little apologizing the way that other white guys in entertainment sort of have to act. You know what I mean? And it was just very strong and unapologetic and high octane. And I think I understand why it was threatening, especially with the sketch. I can see why they took issue with that.
Yeah, and you guys had high ratings. I think you had like what a million or two in the regular...
we broke 1 million. We broke 1 million views on I think the first and last episodes. We were number 2 for not just Adult Swim, but for which wouldn't be that impressive, but for like late night cable. I forget what the rankings were, but we killed it. And creative head of the network, Mike Lazo, he said we're going to shoot 100 more episodes. You guys are the next Tim and Eric. We're going to do 100 more episodes. Everyone was stoked on it.
And you had basically just a couple blue check marks with 5, 10 followers and retweets. Simply send out a few emails, and everyone just collapsed and capitulated. Yeah, it was. I think probably what did it was Bernstein directly getting in contact with what's the guy, Jeff Zucker, the guy that runs whatever. What's Turner? What's above Turner? Is it, yeah,
I mean, I don't care about the BuzzFeed dude. Yeah, it was the BuzzFeed dude directly emailing the top yarmulke at the network, getting us yanked. No offense. Did you? There's a phone call where you had a conversation with that guy. That was pretty funny. But and you never did characterize yourself as alt-right. It was just sort of this label that then they paste on whoever they want, shop with, and wear as I walk across campuses. And it's this beautiful face. I believe is this Miss Mama Hyde? Is that Mama Hyde, or who is that? You? Is that you? That's me at a moment of high bloat and probably high estrogen as well. So if you want to call that Mama Hyde, you're welcome to. And I do resemble my mom in that. Yeah, thank you. I think the one thing that was the place they took it with was they said that picture is crazy. The place they went with it was they said that we had swastikas in the graphics for the show. The graphics for the show, I worked on those. I put blood, sweat, and tears into those graphics. It's like some of the best work I've ever done. And we were forced to censor them completely, including the logo for the show. So you can only really see the final versions by looking at my upload of them on YouTube. And there are no swastikas in any of the graphics for the show. So that's the one kind of funny claim they made, was that we put.
I deconstruct films and symbolism, and I will point out, squares and compasses and, kind of esoteric Masonic symbols in film. And then these people will say, you're crazy, you're a lunatic, it doesn't exist. However, for you, yeah, exactly.
Like symbolism suddenly becomes very real when it's directed at them. But the one thing we did was we used the James Holmes shooter logo in the main World Peace logo. That is true. As you can see, what is the meaning of life? Right. What is the meaning of death? And the reason for that is
this is like high level serious satire. And of course, Sarah Silverman, she can get away with this. She can make jokes about whatever she wants to. But, just subtle things, right? I mean, you have undergone a very bizarre situation where a meme of you, and I think you were probably like the first comedian to really become a meme, and then the meme takes on a life of its own. What was that experience like?
It's not as shocking as people think. It really doesn't affect my life all that much, these shooter memes. I have gotten a few visits from the FBI, but they've always been, I explained to them how computers work. And I explained to them that it's possible to make a Facebook account with someone else's name, and then they usually stand down. Not to mention the fact that I tower over them and physically dominate them and intimidate them in our interactions.
So the FBI guys were all like, "Hey, we got this buff guy here. Looks like Leon Trotsky." So you got like FBI boomers.
The first time they sent this guy that was looked like Columbo, like he actually struck me as a sharp guy. But he was like a little guy. Then the second time they sent two big dudes that I was still bigger than, and I still was standing there flexing as I answered their questions. Can I give some shout outs, Jay, before I forget here?
Yeah.
Can I shout some people out? Shout